Sync. Okay guys, before I start I just thought I'd let you know that I've started up a Facebook page finally. You can check that out in the description down below. But anyway, onto the video. Okay, so to be real, the public perception of vegans isn't fantastic. It's getting better as veganism is on the rise, but a lot of people still see us as unapproachable and in a constant state of anger. Though we get angry sometimes, it's definitely the minority of the time. When I was doing some outreach for World Cube Day, there was one guy who came up to us and he asked what we were about, and as I began to explain, he said, "Oh, you should worry about that halal slaughter, that's inhumane." But then I went for the classic, well, is there any humane way to kill somebody who doesn't want to die? And then he asked if I was a vegan, and I said yeah, and then he hurried away. And that bothered me a bit at the time, and it still bothers me a bit today. But it got me thinking about why that was the case, and about something called cognitive dissonance. The concept of cognitive dissonance isn't something that I'd come across before I went vegan, but now I know about it, it really explains a lot of behaviour that I see in non-vegans. In a nutshell, cognitive dissonance is a discomfort that somebody feels when they hold two conflicting beliefs. An example of this is when people say that they're an animal lover and then 2 hours later they'll pay for an animal to be killed so they can eat them. And the discomfort arises when somebody calls them out for holding these two conflicting ideas. And so in an attempt to resolve this, they'll either change their behaviour, hopefully by going vegan, or they will say something crazy that they would never say in any other situation. I've had people on the street tell me some pretty crazy things. I've had some people tell me that even though they personally wouldn't do it, it's the personal choice of a rapist if they want to rape, or that it's fine to stab somebody's dog in the neck if you then eat the dog afterwards. When somebody feels this discomfort when somebody else has brought up their two conflicting beliefs, they'll often feel attacked and blame the person who has brought up their beliefs instead of reflecting upon themselves. I think that this discomfort that non-vegans feel is the reason why we always hear, yeah, well, you can be vegan but don't force your beliefs down my throat, even though they'll constantly be bombarded with advertising for McDonald's and Greg's and KFC, and somehow they will not see that as forcing beliefs down their throat. They'll remember the maybe 2 other times that they've spoken to vegans and completely forget about all of the advertisements for McDonald's they've seen in the meantime. Now, that cognitive dissonance is a large part of the reason that vegans are called militant. And I really hate it when people compare veganism to a religious group. However, I'm about to do just that, but for the sake of making a point. Now, I'm a vegan activist and I stand on the street with signs at events and I talk to people about slaughterhouse footage, and some people call me militant because I'm passionate about spreading the word. Now think about what a religious group would have to do to be considered militant. When I say a religious militant group, you would probably think of ISIS over people who go door to door with leaflets. Probably the closest thing that vegans have to militancy is ALF work, or Animal Liberation Front work. They'll break into farms or labs and they'll free the animals who are in there, and sometimes they'll damage the property to inflict financial damage. And even then, they won't hurt any humans in the process because it's inherently anti-violent. However, vegans who free animals are legally labelled as terrorists because they're inflicting financial damage upon people who claim that these animals are their own property. A famous example of this being when retired activist Gary Roski freed over 1,500 minks from a fur farm in Canada, causing over $500,000 Canadian worth of damages. And with the recent FBI investigation into the activists who freed a couple of pigs in America, if you don't know about that, Mike the Vegan does a pretty good video on it, link in the description down below. But these people are putting profit over suffering, and it's seen as militant to take direct, non-violent action in an attempt to stop that. That pig farmer wouldn't have made a lot of money just from those 2 pigs who were freed. However, to those pigs, it means absolutely everything. It means the most anything could ever mean. If you still see vegans as militant, which of the following seems more militant to you? paying for somebody to breed animals into existence, to exploit the reproductive system and eventually eat their flesh, and then do the same to their children, or to ask people to not do that. And if you still feel confronted by vegans, ask yourself why that's the case. Is the vegan being mean? Or is it because if you weren't brought up believing that eating animals is normal, natural and necessary, you would be the one out there on the streets trying to stop people from paying for these animals to be killed? Okay, I think I'll leave that one there. If you agreed with me or you disagreed with me, or if I made you see something in a new light, let me know in the comment section down below the video. If you were more subtle than that, you can leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But yeah, this has been a Coli video, and I'll talk to you next time.